All right, for this month's mobility flow, you are going to need a somewhat light resistance band. You are going to start laying on your back and working on getting a hamstring stretch through your left leg. Your right leg will be extended, and just use that band to pull that left leg towards you. You can do a little bit of assisted stretching, so tense up that leg, push away from that band, and then relax. And then one more time, work on actively pushing away with that leg, and then again allowing it to relax, deepening that stretch. You can drop that leg out to the side. Again, doing the same thing. Spend some time actively resisting that band, and then allow the leg to relax, deepening that stretch. Bringing it back up to center. And again, getting a good stretch through the back of that left hamstring. Then take some time switching the band over to the right leg and go through that same sequence. Again, you're going to actively resist the band for about 5 to 10 seconds and then allow that leg to relax again for about 5 to 10 seconds and allow that stretch to get just that little bit deeper. You're going to repeat that sequence 3 times on each leg, actively pushing against the band and then relaxing. You may need to adjust your grip on the band up a little bit more to provide more resistance. And then the same thing, dropping that right leg out to the side, pulling it up toward your shoulder. You should feel a stretch through the inside of your hip and again in that hamstring. You can bring it up to center and then again drop that leg open. And then releasing that band. Roll yourself up to a seated position. You're going to come to your seated straddle. So for this, you're going to have a goal of pointing your toes upward toward the sky as much as possible while allowing yourself to stretch forward, simultaneously trying to touch your chest toward the ground. I know there are a few people that probably can do that right away. Most of us cannot. So just make sure that those toes are pointed up toward the sky. Then take a breath and stretch over to that left side. Again, making sure that that right leg is not fully rolling into internal rotation. There will be a little bit of the toes rolling forward, and that's okay. You just want to make sure that that right leg doesn't completely collapse into internal rotation. Then same thing, stretching over to that right leg, making sure that those left toes are staying pointed up toward the sky as much as possible. Then bringing to yourself into that pigeon. So your left leg is folded underneath, your right leg is extended back. You can either come upright or you can fold your chest forward over your left leg. Take some time to shift your weight to the outside and the center of that hip. Shift your weight around and feel the different stretch on the outside of that left hip. And again, folding yourself forward over that left leg. Then tucking that toe, change legs. Your right leg is going to be tucked underneath for that pigeon pose. Same thing, you can either fold your chest forward, over, or you can have yourself in a more upright position. But again, focus on shifting that weight to the outside of the hip and then bringing yourself more center. And just feel the difference in the stretches through the back of your hip. And again, let yourself fall forward over that right leg. Then bringing yourself back to that resistance band. You're going to use it to do some shoulder threading. So for this, start with gripping at the very ends of the band and move your arms in as needed to increase resistance, but start with giving yourself more slack than you potentially need. If your shoulders are tight, this is going to be a challenging range of motion for you. And you can use a longer band or a band that is not a loop band, but a straight band. If this is easy for you, move your hands a little bit closer together to make it a more challenging exercise. It's going to be a little bit more challenging for just to begin with because you're seated versus standing. Then coming to a kneeling tabletop position. We're going to start with that cat-cow. Inhale, let your belly drop. Exhale, round through that thoracic spine. Using your breath to guide. Then push back into a down dog. Push yourself back into child's pose. Take your right arm, thread that shoulder through, getting a good stretch through the back of that shoulder. Push back into child's pose, take some deep breaths. This is where I was randomly joined by one of the high school powerlifters. Push back into down dog again. Bicycle out those feet, dropping one heel and then the other. Now you're going to extend your left arm out. Bring it straight up, palm facing back. You should get a good stretch through that left lat. Allow your arm to bend at the elbow. Use your opposite hand to help pull and get a stretch through that tricep. Same thing, take that right arm, bring it all the way up. Use that left hand to get a stretch through that right tricep. Take that left arm, bring it all the way across your body and get a stretch through the back of that left shoulder.
I was going to put some ridiculous like violin music. It took about 30 seconds to get real good.
I could totally drop kick you.
Yep. Correct.
Same thing with that right arm. Bring it in a stretch across your chest. Using that left hand to actively stretch that right arm.
Well, yes.
Shake your hands out. Now your last movement is going to be actively pulling and stretching your wrists. Pulling those fingers back. You should feel some stretching in the forearm and then stretching the fingers down. Back and forth on each wrist. And then switching hands, repeating the same thing with your right side. This is really good if you spend your days typing or doing anything active in front of you all day. And you are all done.